doing? What's up out there in ClapBack world? Instagram, Twitter, no, not Instagram, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook. The brothers behind me that forgot I'm taping right now. Got to support our black men. Issa Moon. Shout out to JLS Design Theory and JLS Financials, who just doesn't really fucking matter that I'm taping this show right now, but it's all right. That's what the ClapBack is all about. I am your host. Excuse me, fellas. Can you have this conversation elsewhere? So I am your host, Joy Sanchez, aka Jay the God is. Because God is you and me, and I'm out here just exploring clapback culture. Now, what is that? It's what I call, it's the name that I give to the modern counterculture that's existing in the world right now. The way that we create, the way that we work, the way that we save, the way that we learn and build our communities is all something that's on the fringes of theories. And if you could hear downstairs, that's the extension of my life, my children, who I will, it doesn't matter what I'm going to do because I'm a parent. Ha! I'm cooking at the same time. So if you see me twitching and looking all around, it's because I'm paying attention to this food I got on the stove as well. I'm really excited about today's episode because I get to sit back and chit chat with a king amongst kings, one of the Black God pantheons. I got to learn from him a long time ago when I started getting down, learning about Black God pantheon. Through my time with Brooklyn Wildlife. So I'm really excited to have him on the show, talk about his life, his journey, progress, and work, and all that other stuff that comes with being a clapback king. Let's give mad love to clapback king extraordinaire, precious, gorgeous. What's up, precious, gorgeous? How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm moving around. But
should I call you precious? Right. Should I call you gorgeous? What do you want to be called here?
You could call me anything. You can call me Precious Gorgeous. You can call me Precious. You can call me Ralph. You could call anything that whatever feels comfortable.
You have so many names and so many monikers. I feel like every week that I see your Facebook status is you're changing your name again to something else.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good, because it's like who's achieved it? Donald Glover has achieved it so well because, Childish Gambino and Donald Glover are equally present in your mind, and I'm trying to achieve that same magic trick. It's really a magic trick. Only a few people.
Oh no, I like it cold. Excuse me, interns, as you enter upstairs, we're broadcasting up here. I need complete silence, please. Thank you. Yes. Call my children interns and acolytes.
Excellent. I love it.
That 24/7, their dad just broke them off. And it's really interesting, learning how to co-parent, adjust our co-parenting in this post-pandemic world, to where we were already on the verge of homeschooling, but now we are definitely homeschooling.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing how we have to flip our lives like that. You precious gorgeous, are you a father? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not a father. No.
Do you want to be?
I absolutely do. I mean, it's a sensitive question because I do have a lady, so we have to. It's funny because all my life I wanted to, but the moment it seems like a very real possibility, it becomes
a scary thing. Wait a minute, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, just because. Yeah, it's it always existed in the abstract, and I think if it was real, it'd be awesome. But yeah, it's a huge leap to take. Huge leap.
It is. I like to ask. I'm sorry to go right to those questions, but
please.
A big part of clapback kings and queens for me is examining this culture.
First of all, I would like to say I'm not a clapback king. I'm a clapback queen. Okay.
All right. Look, I did not. What up, Bones Milano? I did not try to designate you in either category. This is all about self-identification here. We support your self-identity. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I like the whole conversation to be as fluid and organic as possible, because I think that's a big part of the culture, is the fact that It's kind of like a second spring of hip hop. You know what I mean? In a way that like what I've noticed over the last 10 years is, especially from the community that I've been blessed to be a part of, is that we are all these people that kind of combine that grit and that hustle, but also the education that our ancestors made possible for us to have access to. And we still like, okay, so now that I have their education and I have my natural tools, I'm gonna see what I can do on my own, what I can create, right? Much like with hip hop, they were like, yo, we're not feeling none of this, but we're gonna break some beats, and this is now here we are now, right? You've always been one of those people. I was asking about fatherhood because I'm always interested to hear what Black men have to say about fatherhood, especially if you're not fathers. Like as a parent right now, I'm scared as fuck all the time. You know what I'm saying? I've always been scared for my kids, and now there are a couple touch and go times where I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I would want to have another child, you know. Or like if I had no children right now, I cannot imagine. I don't know I would want to have, I don't know that I would make the same choices I made before. Like, I don't know that I would still have enough hope in my heart right now to want to bring a child into this world. Like feel safe bringing a child into this world. So, and I'm also blessed with like a baby father with an ex-husband who wanted to be a father. And that, you know, I don't know if that's a rarity amongst Black men or not. Because you know we got that trope.
That's hard to say. I really don't know if it's a rarity. I have felt like it was a rarity amongst my generation. I think we're a generation that's strayed away from traditional family and or untraditional family and strayed away from wanting to be parents. And I never had that.
No.
No,
me neither, though. Honestly,
I wanted to be a dad when I was a kid. Yeah. So you the same? Yeah.
I didn't want to be a mom until I was pregnant. Like
wow.
I dead ass when I was a kid. I was like, I'm never having children. I idolized Josephine Baker and Janet Jackson. And I was like, I'm going to be a superstar like them. I'm going to get famous. And then I'm going to do the Josephine Baker thing and adopt all of the children of the rainbow and give children homes. Like that was my whole plan when I was a teenager. And then I became pregnant as a teenager and I had an abortion. And I was like, well, I want to have a life. So I have to like sacrifice this thing, right? That I didn't want anyway. But then the second time I got pregnant, I didn't think I could ever become pregnant again. So I kept my child because I thought it was like a miracle. And I guess I started to feel that twinge, but like as a person, it was never a part of my plan as a person to become a parent.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't until I became a parent that I understood how important it is and how precious that opportunity is. And allowed myself to like accept it, because like when you accept it, I think that also there's something that comes with you accepting you're kind of leveling up in life, as with like when you get any type of opportunity or anything you see as an opportunity, it allows you to see how much you've actually leveled up, you know, and kids expose the whole side of you. So like ain't nobody ever ready to have kids. You can only be prepared, I think. Like that's, it doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Precious Gorgeous love the kids.
What's that?
I said Precious Gorgeous does love the kids though. Yeah.
I teach a lot. I love the kids. I feel like I feel very connected to like my child, the childlike part of myself. I feel very connected to it, and yeah, I feel like in the last 3 years, I think he's always been a big role model for me, but like it kind of helped me really identify like the brand and what Precious Gorgeous is. Like I realized that one of my biggest inspirations is Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Yes. I love Mr. Rogers myself.
Yeah, I think it's rare that you find anybody who doesn't, and it's like when you have somebody who's like you're very rarely gonna find, and like I'm sure there's people who don't like Mr. Rogers, but it's beautiful to see a figure who is like. First of all, I don't like this idea that people have to be completely no blemishes, have no flaws for us to love them. I don't like that.
Yeah. That's another thing I will say. Like, I have to say honestly and truly that like your work as a whole has always been inspiring because of that fact. It's always contained this piece of this acceptance, right? That comes that is really, really rare, of like it's very obvious that you accept all sides of yourself, like all the parts of yourselves, the good, the bad, the whatever. Like you always are not afraid to like not just put things out there, but also be vulnerable with your work when you put them out there, like have these deep thoughts. Oh shit. And I want to know, was that always like, is that an intentional thing, or does that just become intentional over time?
Man, that's such a great question. I could not tell you. I couldn't tell you. Part of me wants to like blame it on the Scorpio season, the Scorpio nature. Part of me wants to blame it on that, but I don't know. It might be also just like I've been an artist and I loved art since I was a kid, and the art that I loved was always about human nature and and our duality and the beauty of our duality. I don't know what that is, but I will say I think it is intentional. It is like a practice, something I've tried to make a practice because I think I realized that it was important, that I saw that somewhere, that you can love people and the people who truly love you and who do the most important things for you can also be the ones who hurt you the most.
Yes.
And not only is that, people will say that that's life, and I agree, it is life, but not only is that life, I think it's beautiful. I think it's the most beautiful part of life, because it's very easy to love people who always help you, who are your friends, who are always cool. But that is, to me, is not the full expression of love. The full expression of love is to love someone even when you have every reason not to. That's why we love Mr. Rogers. That's why we love Nelson Mandela. You know what I mean? Because when you look at that, you believe in magic, and you believe that you're like, it's like stunning. It's even hard to look at in a way. It's just like, you're just like, I can't believe that's possible.
Word. And speaking of magic, I want to share a little bit of the Precious Gorgeous magic with our audience in the world. So I could also take care of a couple housekeeping things over here on my side. This is a short playlist I have made, and I believe this is off of your like 100th greatest hip hop project. It was like you went over all these tracks, which we definitely going to talk about as soon as we get back. But I want to share this with folks while I take care of some things here before we get really, really into Precious Gorgeous, because what you're saying is like all I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? You're one of these artists that like is so necessary for the culture in the world. I don't even think we realize what we're like witnessing with you right now. So we're gonna be right back, about 7 minutes.
Okay.
If this will play. Oh, come on, YouTube.
YouTube, what you doing?
Can I also say this is one of my favorite projects from you? The 100. It was like 100 greatest freestyles.
Yeah, I'm not even finished with it yet. I still have like 7 of them to do.
Nice.
Yeah, I gotta get it
16 to 100 real quick. That was it.
done.
What inspired that while I'm trying to like figure out
Yeah. Just like I came up how me and Mandela, when me and Mandela Eskia first started working together, we would do these freestyles every week, and I just started realizing that helped my pen and my writing so much. But then but I'd been writing freestyles, the entire time I was a rapper, getting beats offline and writing raps to them, and it started to become bored. So like, in order to challenge myself to keep that practice up, I was like, okay, well maybe if I find a theme or an idea to support it, then I can keep doing it. So Complex Magazine had this list of like the 100 greatest hip hop beats of all time, which, I was like, okay, cool, this list exists. Let me just start writing raps and going down the whole list. So I've probably done about 85 of them by now since 2016. Goodness, I hope it plays for you.
And are these all freestyle? These are all freestyles?
Yeah. Well, they're not off the top. I wrote them like that day. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done like a off the top one. I just like the practice of sitting down and writing like, oh, here's a beat. What would I do to this beat? Goodness, I'm sorry that they're not playing for you.
No, I think it has to do with where I'm at in my house and this whack ass weather. That's really what sucks. It's like this weather. You know how the cable companies and the Wi-Fi company, like, the technology always fails when you're trapped in the house. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Also, I have a tendency to like have too many tabs open. I don't know if that actually has anything to do with anything, but it could. We never know.
I've always tried that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't actually know if it works, but I definitely, when I'm in trouble, I will cut off all the other tabs.
Yes. Are you a tab person? Are you a tab person?
I have a lot going on. I have a lot I'm looking up and researching all the time. I don't even know, and I go down wormholes every day. So yeah, I have a Wikipedia open several times and several YouTubes open and thesaurus.com and everywhere.
You speaking of thesaurus.com, you are like, tell me, yo, where does this fucking vocabulary come from? Because you always have like one of the most, I will say lyrically, I think you're one of the most lyrically complex, but actually simple. It's just like you just have a wider vocabulary. Like your vernacular is maybe 10 times wider than the average rapper. So I want to know, where did that come from with you?
It probably just comes from reading a lot of comic books. I'm not like, I used to read a lot. For some reason, since Trump got elected, I really haven't read much at all. Like, I read on the internet, but I used to be pretty well read, like decently well read. Like, I read like 2-3 books a year, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like some sort of scholar. So I don't know. Probably just from a lot of comic books as a kid, maybe. I don't.
Are you a big reader?
I used to be. In the last few years, for some reason, I haven't read a full book in like 3 years. I used to read like 2-3 books a year, but a lot of, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where it is. I think I have a facility with words. I think once I hear a word, I can sort of grab onto it and hold it. And I was always like that as a kid, but I'm not I don't know. I don't know where that comes from.
All right, we're trying it. We're gonna keep trying to close tabs over here.
Okay,
are you able to share on your side?
I'll try. Yeah, let me see here. It doesn't. I don't see a share option for me.
Ah, darn it. Okay. Well, this is so annoying.
Yeah.
This is so annoying. Like, I'm mad. Like, yo, I really want motherfuckers to like be able to hear this too, or like understand the genius that is Precious Gorgeous as well. Maybe the universe will conspire on our behalf.
I pray that it does. It's so weird because this broadcast is going through so easily, but
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how is it that I can broadcast, but I can't like I can't get
know.
YouTube to play it. This is so whack. Does it need its own? Okay. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna just
I'm
stop.
so sorry.
And I mean, it's all good. It's all good. It is what it is. You know, sometimes technical difficulties. Yeah, I did try closing some tabs. Chris, shout out to Chris Seaspin Films. He's over here watching the interview right now, and he's also suggested that I close some tabs, and the tabs. I did close tabs, and it did not work. I'm sorry. That's what I'll say about my alties. Oh well. And you know, as a queen of clapback, what we do, we just keep it moving and make it work anyway. So since we are talking about magic and the vulnerability that comes out in the work, I wanted to know, like, what makes you so audacious and like comfortable in that, because there's a lot of discomfort, right, that comes with going into places, and you're involved in many different areas. You're you know, one of the polymaths like everybody else. You're an actor, you're a writer, you're a rapper, you are a comedian. What else is there anything that you don't do, and what makes you so comfortable?
There's plenty of things I don't do. I do like 3 things, and then everything else I'm useless. I do. I'm an actor. I'm a rapper, songwriter, and then make comedy. I teach now. I teach all those things. I can't, if I need to, like I can direct like a play or a piece of film, and I can produce my own events if I need to, you know, through just like watching mentors of mine produce their own stuff, and or, you know, big homies watching them produce their own stuff, so I can do that. And I will like, as a songwriter, I like work in A&R for people sometimes. Like I do a little bit of that for Mandela Skia and for like Carrie Blue a little bit. I think that's it. I think that covers everything.
But what makes you so comfortable in this expression, like this multifaceted expression, right? When like there's still a world out there, because I believe typecasting still happens. That people are definitely like, I feel like you're one of the people that will get looked at, and they'll, you know, someone will try to put you into one specific box. But you're all of these things. So how do you operate in that comfort? You know, like your pushback, where does that come from? Or like, how do you allow yourself to operate in that?
It's not really a conscious choice. I feel like I don't, it's just always been, like, I guess when I was a kid, I only like drew comic books. That was my thing, and I was obsessed with that. Then I started rapping, and then I started acting. But the thing is, like, I don't really draw at all anymore. And I remember my mom, rest her soul, when she would always be like, "Yeah, if you don't draw no more, why don't you draw?" To me, it all feels like the same thing. I don't feel like I'm doing a bunch of different things. To me,
it's all the same place, right?
Yeah, it feels like the exact same thing. So, and doing different things helps me to understand the other things better. So
yeah,
it's not like an act of bravery on my part in any way. It's more like an act of greed.
An act of what?
An act of greed.
But you know what? I find that there's something a long time ago, Erykah Badu said something that was really interesting.
And a long time ago, probably.
Yeah, a long time ago. She said, I don't make this art for you. I make this art for me. What I do is an extremely selfish thing that I just choose to share with everybody else. But I would be doing this regardless, right? So, you know, and I think that speaks to like what you're saying about like the naturalness of it. How like I recently filled out application for some grant, and it said, well, why are you the most well suited for this award? And I was just like, I don't know, but I just know that I will be doing this regardless. Like this is, it's like breathing for me now. You know, I can't even remember the time when I was like, because I feel like we always have some type of doubt, whether it's that like initial doubt that there's a value for our work or a necessity for it. And then once you become any type of successful, there's that doubt that creeps in as imposter syndrome. Like, do I even belong here? Like, look at who's around me. Like, I don't even know if I fit this, right? But I don't remember that time anymore. Now I'm more in the imposter syndrome place and less in the should I do this phase, you know? How do you deal with that? Or like, what was that like for you?
Oh, it's very present for me, the imposter syndrome. It goes back and forth. Like I've started teaching classes. I created a class about I teach clown as well, which is like I feel like very esoteric and very ethereal. And I taught a class that I invented about it last night, and the whole time I was like, there's a bit that David Letterman used to do in his show, and he would go, ladies and gentlemen, is this anything? And the curtain would open and it'd be like a guy on stilts and somebody juggling and a guy on a beach ball and somebody dressed in a bear suit and he's playing an accordion, and then the curtains close again. And then he goes, is this anything? And that's how I feel about some of the things I'm making. I'm like, is this something? I don't know what this is. So I definitely am feeling the imposter syndrome heavy at times, but I do have to. I take solace in the fact that I know other artists also experience it, and that I don't know. I think a lot of it is because when I was younger, it was such a dream. It's weird to see your dreams happening, you know, because you spend so much time in the yearning and longing place. It's like even now, like I was a big piner when I was not even that many years younger, maybe like 3 or 4 years younger, like maybe 5 years younger, like piner after like I was never sure that I would ever have a girlfriend or be with a woman that who liked men, wanted to be around me. So I was a big piner and pined after girls, you know. And so now that I've been with one woman for 3 years, I'm not used to this space of like being secure and having a girlfriend and feeling desirable. Like I'm not, I don't know how to be used to that, because my whole life I've always been like, oh, is anybody gonna like me? You know what I mean? So like I've been defined. I think I've been defined myself as a striver my whole life. So when I don't have to strive so much for something, it's a strange feeling. It's a very strange feeling.
Word. I get that part. That like, how do I like dinner? Children just interrupt your whole ass life. Now I get that part. Like I feel like there's some times where it's like there isn't so much of striving anymore. When I lose that striving feeling. Look, my son is taller than me. He's not.
Wow.
Like he's as tall as my head wrap. Like that, we're only the same height because of my head wrap, y'all. That's scary, man.
Circle of life.
That is life.
Yeah.
Go, young Simba. Go for it. The trick's on him though, because he thinks he picked the one with the least vegetables, and he did it. They have much. Yes, they have all sorts of vegetables in it. It's vegetables at every turn. You never know in these streets. Watch your back, kid.
God bless him. He's trying.
Yo, I mean, I feel like as a parent, my favorite part of parenthood right now, like I laugh a lot in life, and in my parenting. Like that's been my favorite part, is just recognizing that I am in fact a mental giant to them. Like I really am a giant in every way, except the physical now that they're my height. Like it's a wrap that way. But it's been interesting. It's a lot like artwork, right? It's like, oh, now you at my level, I have to step my game up. That's where I'm at. Like now, every time I'm at a place where I wanted to be, that striving becomes a, oh shit, I gotta step my game up. Like I'm not good enough in the way that like I gotta do more. I'm still not doing enough, or I could do more. Like being around people that are doing stuff or like reaching any level of, like right now, I'm really nervous about this panel I'm on this weekend, and it's a virtual event for the Manhattan Institute of Psychoanalysis. And one of the people on the panel is Black Thought, who is like, oh my God, that's like God to me. It's like another God, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, wow, I really got to the level where somebody thought about me enough to put me on a panel with people of this level. Yes. So like now that I'm here, I'm like, all my shit, when I get to do things that like put me in places in front of people that I consider amazing, I'm like, oh shit. Am I even not, it's not that am I good enough? It's like, yo, is this specific thing good enough? Because I know I am good enough. But it's also, what up, TK? Shout out to TK in the AM. You know, when's the last time you were around somebody that made you think, oh, I gotta do more, or like gave you that kick in the ass?
I feel like that happens pretty often. Let me think here. I'm gonna try to come up with a good one. That's not a rare occurrence. I don't know if this counts specifically, but just like watching the Illuminate of Mankind Music Academy, watching watching his Grand Rising challenge and all the rappers that were on it, and you know what I mean, like I can feel like, oh yeah, I'm a force out in these streets, in these lyrical streets. Then you just see how many like rappers there are and how many of them are really
fucking good, yo.
And you're just like, okay. You got me. Okay.
You got me. Word. You got me.
You know, there's so many great MCs on there. I mean, like, what's the homie's name? I don't remember. I mean, like, there was just so many verses on there that I was just like, who? First of all, some of the people I didn't even know, and I was like, who is this? Who is this?
I really I love that part about it. I really love that part about it because it's still going on. There's still people. There's still new videos being posted with that shit. And to me, it is so powerful to see how fucking widespread this shit gets. Like, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. I feel like there's about to be some international MCs that come through and like just fucking kill it. Like kill just everything you thought was dead is now even deader, if that's even possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's so that as beautiful as that is, what part of what's beautiful about it is this like mass humbling that you get, where you're just like, yeah, it's the opposite. It's exactly what you said. It's the opposite of like when I feel like, oh, the striving is done. Now it's like, no, I have so much more I can grow. So another level I can get. Another level I can get. So yeah, it's ever present. That's always there, and like, yeah, for sure. And you know, yeah. That's
that beat is hella swaggy, like so fucking swaggy. It's like Godfather of Harlem right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I did like on my one day I might like string them all together and kind of put them out as like a short project. But I think I did like 17 takes.
Wow.
Over that beat. I have like 17 or 18 videos.
I remember you did one. It was just like freestyling.
All of them are freestyles.
Fantastic.
Yeah, all of them are freestyles. Like none of them are written. And I sat down. Every time I heard that beat, there was just so much I wanted to say on it. Like it was one of these beats. Like after not rhyming for months, because I really just started rapping again. I want to say in like late May, early June, with Freestyle Mondays, virtual stuff. I started doing that, and fucking with end of the week the way I've always wanted to, but haven't been able to because of work schedules. So that got me back into like loving. Right, like real. Oh, right. The mic is still here. Like, oh, right, music is still here, and just like reacquaint myself with that part of art that I love. And yo, like these beats, Negroes have been home cooking up some fire ass beats.
Yeah, man, that beat, you're so right. It's such a beautiful beat. It's such a beautiful. And early in the summer as well, Deuce Ellis and Camouflage Monk did a similar challenge and shout out. I think Deuce has an album coming out maybe tomorrow.
Deuce got an album coming out on Friday the 13th. It's not an album. I think it's actually the comic book that accompanies the album that's out right now. With the shoes that are out right now that I got a pair of, and they're hella swaggy. Can I give a shout out to Deuce Ellis on how much fucking I get at least every time I wear his shoes? He gave me a pair of the sneakers for a thing we did. And like, dog, not only do I love barter community, but this is why I love the barter community, is because I got swaggy ass sneakers that literally maybe I don't know how many people have bought his sneakers, but I know no one in my hood got them. And every time I wear these bitches, I get complimented on them at least twice.
Damn.
Twice. Okay. Just, and they're comfortable. So yeah, they're hella comfortable.
He did it on them. Yeah. That, I mean, even that, like his like a movement like Deuce Ellis is like, his movement is like it makes me be like, woo, okay. I see what can be done. I
see what can be done.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, like that's that part to me that's like hella interesting. Speaking of things that can be done, you, sir, I hear have a project coming up, yeah, that you're about to drop in December.
Yeah, in about a month, I'm gonna drop it's a mixtape. You know what? And I'll go ahead and we're coming down to it. I can go ahead and announce the title with you. Joe, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Brooklyn.
Oh, fantastic. So this is a perfect place to drop. So
hey.
Yeah, and I actually think I need you on this project now that I think about
it. Hey, I'm down for it. I'm here for it.
Okay. But yeah, I'm dropping a mixtape on the 13th of December, and it's called Brooklyn Petting Zoo.
Brooklyn Petting Zoo.
Yeah, an homage to another Brooklyn great, Russell Jones, the old dirty bastard, the ODB, Brooklyn Zoo. This is the precious, gorgeous Brooklyn Petting Zoo. So, and it's just basically it's a. I mean, I treat it like an album, so I do like the 50. I was taught by 50 Cent, right? You and Ice Cube. You jack people's beats, and then you write full songs over them. So I just took a bunch of beats from a bunch of like classic Brooklyn records or beats from Brooklyn icons, and I wrote original songs over them. So and I really, I'm really proud of it. So that's coming out on the 13th. I've been working on it, not even that long actually. I've been working on it like maybe like 2 or 3 months. It came together really fast, but it's a big, like, sumptuous project, and it's very fun. And I think it's very. I think I've written some of my best songs ever on it. So yeah, that's Brooklyn Petting Zoo. It's coming out December 13th.
Yo, that's what's up. I would be honored to do anything with you. And I love that, like, you're one of the creatives who isn't out here like, oh, we work so hard all the time, we shouldn't do anything. It's like, yo, how much time, you really seem to have taken advantage of this time where, like, you could sit still and you didn't have to do anything but whatever the fuck you wanted to do. And this is not me saying that, like, yo, you got to do something. right? Because there are definitely days where I do absolutely nothing, and I think it's healthy. But I think us like adapting to this, we never have to do anything. Like, nah, you got to do something. Like, there is a point in time where you got to do something, and this was definitely a time to take advantage of, because like I feel like as we get back into the swing of things, when that timer gets flipped, it's all of a sudden like it's gonna, everything moves. Like you were just saying, you don't even know how this came together so quickly. Do you find that that's happening a lot now with like your projects and things, that like things just kind of come together a lot more quickly? And you want to play?
I feel like sometimes I feel guilty, and I don't know that I've done enough to pay it forward. I have to find ways to continue to do that, but like I feel guilty because this COVID time has been, for me personally, has been nothing but a blessing. And my heart, my heart is full for other people to whom it's been terrible. But for me, I've been here with Anya, and we've just been basically from the first week of COVID, we started making comedy sketches. I released an album early in COVID that I already had recorded, the Teddy Riley album, Trip.
See, and that's why I was a little confused just now thinking about your project, whether you had a project coming out or you just dropped a project, because I remember
I did just drop a project, and I'm dropping another one.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, that project was recorded a year and a half before COVID, so it was just sitting there waiting to be released. I was waiting to figure out when to release it, and then Teddy Riley is my favorite producer, So when the Versus thing happened, I was like, we got to move. We have to move, because this is the most hot he's been probably in 30 years. So I was like, it's time to move right now. So we're in 25 years. And I was really proud of that record. And then for this record, I don't know. I was just sitting around, and I thought I was gonna take a break from music, because I have another album written, like that's more like trying to get my life together, that I'm gonna do with the band that I made, or that we came together to make that record. So I have that record already demoed and ready. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna chill and work on things other than music. But it just feels like right now music is what wants my attention,
Right.
So so the idea to do this came, and I also like, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and that's very important to me. But I also know that like I don't really feel like I'm nothing like Uncle Murder. I'm nothing like Mano. I'm nothing like Casanova. I'm nothing like Jay. I'm nothing like Lil Kim. I'm nothing like, I look up to all those people. I'm nothing like Fabulous. But people don't look at me and automatically think Brooklyn or the Brooklyn MC. So like this is me being like, or nobody looks at me even and thinks of like rest in peace, Sean Price. Nobody looks at me and thinks of me that way. So this project is a way for me to go like, no, I'm from Brooklyn, and it's very important to me.
Word. What? Okay.
A snack?
A snack? You just... Do you hear this? Can I have a snack? This boy got more food than I did. Talking about, can I have a snack? You have a job.
Growing boy.
I know. I just want him to stop. Just for a while, just so he's old enough to work and contribute to the household. What is wrong with child labor? I mean, what is so wrong with that? Go away. Yeah. Go away. My ungrateful son.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Sorry, you were saying.
I think that was it. But yeah, thank you for letting me talk about that. I'm really excited about it. I really tried to push myself in different ways on it, and I know like it's also not lost on me that I'm very sort of anti-traditional when it comes to hip hop. I really am sick of people talking about the 90s and all this kind of stuff. But this is the one project where I allowed myself to just try to be. I guess.
I think it's possible to do both. Like, I don't think it's. I don't see what's wrong with talking about the 90s because I am one of those people that talks about the 90s, but also I'm very much aware and not stuck in the 90s either. There's,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's no right or wrong to it. It's all preference. And it's like, I don't like that time. I don't dislike that time. But the sort of the idea that is the only real moment of hip hop, that
right,
sort of irks me. So I can
and
stay away from
to kind of glorify that one time is also kind of a glorification of a lot of problematic shit.
Mm-hmm.
That you say we're not, you know what I'm saying, that we say that we're disconnecting from right now. Like we're trying to not do that anymore, and yet we want to stay connected to that. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about that time, and it birthed a lot of the things that I love. So with this project, it was an opportunity for me to reconcile with that because I have a lot of beats. I probably have beats from like '89, and I have beats from like '95, and I have beats from, so.
Well, I mean, I also ask you because you're somebody who is, like I said, you're accepting of a whole person. And like hip hop has always had heavy misogyny, had heavy homophobia in it. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm a Black queer woman who's always had to have that discernment in me of like, I love hip hop. Problematic as that shit is, I still love it because there's room for the righteous and the ratchet in one person. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I can twerk for Jesus. Like, I don't see you can twerk for Jesus. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I totally love that and appreciate that. And like, I also feel like it's weird to me. I don't want to. It doesn't seem wise to me that we want all of our artists to be good people. I want very flawed and very human people to be very honest about why they're that way. Otherwise, I have nothing really to learn from. You know what I mean? I want, I sort of think like, I remember there was a huge backlash when it came out. I think it's his most important record. There was a huge backlash when it came out when Drake put out Marvin's Room because it's a song about a fuck. It's an anthem for a fuck boy, right?
Right.
I'm calling you, even though I know you got a boyfriend. I know I shouldn't, but fuck it, I'm drunk, blah, blah. But I think what's beautiful about that record is because of the tones and the keys that he's playing on that are in the beat, they're telling you this is a guy who doesn't think well of himself.
Right.
This is a guy who feels bad about himself, who doesn't.
And it's also really informing, like, as a woman from that other side of the perspective of like, not only does he not think highly of himself, but he's not thinking highly of you. So like, do you want to be this woman who entertains fuckboys? Like, that's the choice that we have to make in order to either continue having fuckboys in our life or not, and it's a responsibility. I feel like a lot of people, women specifically, do not take, like, we don't always take responsibility for that part of our choices, right? Like, I only keep receiving bullshit because I keep accepting bullshit. I don't have to open that box. I could send that shit right back to Amazon. Like, I don't have to entertain it in my life and keep it in my life if I don't want to by making a different choice. So maybe I don't answer your 2 a.m. phone call because I listened to this song and I know you're full of shit.
Yes. When I listen to that song, I feel like that is like I'm it. If there's a Drake apologist, I'm it. I love, you know what I mean? And I feel like I earned that because I'm also, I'm a DMX apologist. I'm a, you know what I mean? I'm a whatever it is. I love the Jizza and the RZA and the, you know what I mean? I love all of that. All that is for me, So, but
I think it's also like, because again, right, women, we are like natural born apologists. So I get it, because it's like you can either enjoy the music for what it is. It's like a momentary expression of something that connects you to other people, or you can sit here being Susie Sadass, you know what I'm saying, just only dwelling on the intellectual problematicness of it. Because it's like, I'm not saying misogyny is a good thing. I'm just saying that it's there. It's like,
there.
it's there. Like, what do you want to do about it? We can't change what's already happened.
And you can't even know to address it unless something is expressing that it's there.
Ooh, question.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of not being able to change things that have happened, what do you think about cancel culture? And then I'm going to also ask you about Bill Cosby, being that you're in the comedy world.
Man, well, I always feel like I want to be careful about saying, because like it began and started for very positive and very sound reasons, because there are some people who need to be out of here. But I'll put it to you this way. If somebody, and this has been my experience in life, and I do stand by this, if somebody's like, hey man, trust me, I immediately know I can never trust you. You know what I mean? If you're not going to let me make my own decision, if you need to tell me the decision I need to make, it's because I can't trust you. So that being said, with the people who want the power to administer cancel culture, administer those, like, it's been shown so many times that somebody who's canceling someone else has the same, has comparable or the same shit in their own background. You know what I mean? The people who are doing the condemning. So it's like, and that happens time and time again. So how can you trust it? So to me, it's like, that's one. I don't trust anybody to wield that power. Anyone. And a group
Not
of people is worse
equitably.
because it's mob mentality.
I don't think that any one person can do it equitably or objectively. Not truly. Even the most balanced of us. Like I like to believe I'm objective. I like to believe I'm one of the most objective people. I can see both sides of things, and that's because I'm just like my sign says. I want to know everything, right? I want to know. I'm a Gemini, so I like to, I'm very mental. I'm very much into the debate of things, but I want to know both sides of the argument to make the most informed decision I can for myself, right? And I encourage other people to do that too. But what I found is, like, even in that object, like even somebody who has that objectivity, you're always going to have a blind spot for your own mistakes, your own flaws. Or even if you do fully accept your flaws, a lot of the times you can also explain away your own shit while condemning other people for the same shit that you do. And that's where the problem comes from. It's like, nah, we either got to accept all of everybody, you know what I'm saying? Or we just like live by your fucking self or somewhere. I don't know. Live in a bubble. It's like, I don't get that.
Yeah. I also, like, I'm very big on, like, we tend to want to act as if we can I forgive people who blah blah. It's like, people who deserve redemption, deserve forgiveness, deserve mercy. We try to, there's a limit to it, and it's like, who set that limit? Where is that limit? It's like, because your patience is at an end, then all patience should be at an end. You have the model of patience in you. Like, I don't buy that. I don't man, I feel like I really do feel like anyone has the opportunity to be redeemed. I have to believe in that. I can't believe in this sort of,
disposability of people.
Yeah, or that somebody. It's like, if we're really honest, like, even you and I, it's like, the people who are telling me about who can be redeemed or not, or like the editor of some independent magazine or something. It's like, I respect you in your position, but I don't know if I can have you tell me about the redemption of mankind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? You went to NYU. You know what I mean? I don't, but like, I don't know if you can tell me about the soul of man and the soul of men and women. Like, that's over our pay grade. You know what I mean? And I just have to like live in
and I think it requires a level of faith and understanding that a lot of people do not have and may never have. Something what I learned becoming a parent, I really did learn unconditional love, and it really made me have to check myself in the way that I said I was loving others unconditionally.
Wow.
Right? Understanding like the real meaning of unconditional love, like what it really means to have no conditions on the love you give somebody. So now, what that allowed me to do over time was just genuinely invest in people. The energy that I put into my relationships, whatever those relationships were, that was real. The energy that went into them, into maintaining them, to being a part of them or contributing something to them, was always real and never taken away, despite what other people, whatever the other person may have said, like, oh, I can't fuck with you because of X, Y, Z, or blah, 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 or I hate you because I'm like, okay, I'm still going to be right here because I don't have a problem with you. And if I did, we'd be talking about it, right? Because that's what unconditional is, like, to understand, like, okay, I got these flaws and you're bringing them to me. And the condition is I got to accept that you see my flaws and we got to find some middle ground. That's the meaning of unconditional, of like, I'm going to figure out a way for us to get back on the same page. And I'm going to continue to do that work on the other side of the relationship. Even when you decided, okay, I'm not going to build my side of the bridge no more. I'm going to keep building my bridge to you. That's unconditional. Not because it started raining and like you decided to give up on this project because now it's raining outside. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? I have no control over other things. But also people don't have control over the things that they do have control over when they decide I'm not going to fully engage in them. I'm going to give up when things get hard or difficult or just uncomfortable, right? Because they say that growth is not a comfortable thing. Right? It's not an easy thing for a seed to become a stem, to become a tree. So why would you think growing is easy? You know what I'm saying? We never argue. I look at my like I be looking at relationships where I never argue, and I realize I used to pick fights because like I felt like we should have an argument here and there. We should not be agreeing on everything.
Wow.
Right? If we're agreeing on absolutely positively everything, it's the same thing I tell my kids. They'll say something and I'll be like, is that what you think for yourself, or is that what you think I want you to say? Because those are two different things. People will agree with you even if they don't agree with you because they are scared, or they're either scared about your reaction, or they're scared about losing, that what they say might make them lose that relationship. And fuck it. To me, I'm a ClapBack queen because fuck it. I don't care how uncomfortable it is for me to express something or hear it. My friends, I've noticed that like my actual friends, people I could stay, and people that I still stay in community with, are people that like, yeah, we might not talk for a little bit because I said some uncomfortable shit, but we're always able to come back and have conversation, right? There's always an ability to grow throughout that time. So like things need to marinate sometimes and like permeate a place in your mind where you're like, you know what, I was bugging out on this, that, and the third, or like, oh, you know what, you know what I mean? Sometimes we all need places to catch up, and that's not a practice, I think, of the general populace, especially when you've been like very engrossed in a culture that's, built around white supremacy. And like these are not like opinions anymore. These are proven and well researched to damn near exhaustive fact. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. I really don't. The other thing is like the flip side of that is like I can't then, and this is an issue that I personally have. I can't then be condemnatory to the people who are the proponents of that culture. You know what I mean? I have to try to understand, by the same token, where they're coming from and why they're doing that. Why they're like, let's cancel, blah, blah. And some of them I agree with. To go to like the Bill Cosby point, I am a comedian and I study comedy, and like before all this happened and now, that's the big thing for me. It doesn't go away. Bill Cosby is probably the best stand-up comic to ever live.
Chardonnay. Yeah,
he's probably the best.
And that's why I asked you about it, because again, that cognitive dissonance, right? That ability to separate the man from the work, right? I say this all the time. People might want to like throw out Bill Cosby. I think Bill Cosby is probably a trash person. I don't know. I've never met him in person. I just now know I should never be alone with him or accept a drink from him.
Mhm.
But if it has something to do with my career, why would I not take that meeting and handle myself accordingly, right? But not also use these accusations and charges as just like the only basis. Just I use that of, okay, this is how I handle myself with him. It's always got to be like that. And I got to keep it on business. And I got to keep bringing it back to business. And if that's not what it's going to be, I know how to get myself the fuck out of there. Right. However, when it comes to his work, right? Heathcliff Huxtable saved a lot of fucking lives.
Save lives.
Right? Saved so many lives. The Huxtable family guided a whole generation or two of Black people, a different world, like really allowed us to think of ourselves in these different world circumstances of seeing ourselves go to college. I didn't think about going to college until the Cosby Show. Even though I grew up with a teacher and a lawyer in my house.
Wow.
I didn't really think about going to college until then. I didn't think about who I would be as a person because, again, my grandmother was also like born in 1910. So she was very traditional in the you need to be a lady, training me how to be a lady, how to run a house, how to be an excellent host, which is why I'm such a good host now. I'm very nurturing, even though that's not who I wanted to be. You know what I mean? Also the lessons of womanhood are very different than the lessons of manhood, even especially in Blackness. We're taught very different things in very different ways. You know, sometimes the same thing in different ways, but sometimes just different things, period. And that was one of the, you know, but like I was never being groomed to be some intellectual scholar or like some worldly successful, wildly successful worldly person. I was groomed to be a lady, to be attractive to men, to attract a good husband, to be able to manage someone's house, to definitely think and use my mind and have ambitions, but not necessarily follow them. You know, that wasn't our priority. And even now that I see that, like, I'm educated, I'm self-sufficient, I'm independent. I've considered myself successful to still be alive and well and thriving in 2020 in New York City. I am definitely living beyond what I thought my life would be. However, I find that now that same Huxtable, like not Huxtable, but like that same pre-Huxtable ideal is still in people. Like there's an inherent thing of like, there is still an inherent thing where like, I'm too independent for some men, especially Black men. I'm too independent. I'm too independent because I don't need you. And there's still some shit with Blackness where like we need to be needed and we don't know what it is to just be wanted. That's a part of it's attached to that freedom, you know, that idea of freedom and liberation. Like, what is freedom? Freedom is being able to do whatever you want whenever you want to do it, not giving no fucks or giving apologies about it. That's true freedom. Being my whole self is true freedom, right? I find it. I don't know. I'm rambling.
I mean, even those questions are tackled in the Cosby Show, and in the legend and the myth around the Cosby Show. Like even, you know, the life of Raven Simone, the life of Lisa Bonet, the life of Felicia Rashad. You know,
I'm Tempest Bledsoe. Who's somebody? Tempest Bledsoe. Like, what happened to her? And Rudy, I don't even know. Right, that's Tempest. But I think I saw her for the first time on like some Lifetime movie. This was the first time I saw her in anything in like 20 years that wasn't a porno. I'm like, what happened there?
Yeah, a bunch of crazy. Yeah, I mean that happens. I think the same thing happened with Jenny or whoever it was, the youngest daughter on Family Matters that just disappeared. I think the same thing happened where I never connected the two. But I mean, a lot of questions are raised, and that show was beautiful, and Bill Cosby's comedy was beautiful, And I also feel like, yeah, I can believe that he did those rapes. I also feel like the color of it is skewed in America because he was also a powerful and defiant black man. But that doesn't take away from it if he did do those things. So it's like,
Right.
I to be honest, I sort of relish, not that those rapes happened, but the circumstance, because it forces us to look at ourselves. It forces us to look at somebody we loved and reconcile that somebody we loved can also be terrible, and we can still, you know what I mean? I always think about this thing of like, what if your plumbing is fucked up for 2 weeks in your house and you can't shower and you can't everything's going crazy. You got a house full of kids. You have a plumber comes in and you know what I mean, revolutionizes your whole plumbing system and everything's running great and your household's running great. And then you find out that guy's a neo-Nazi. Do you go back and undo all that work? Like, what do you do? You have to live with that.
Right.
Learn to live with that. And I feel like that's part of the beauty of life.
Right.
You know?
Also, I think that there are people, like, even if you wanted to undo all that work, can you really afford the time and the expense of undoing all that work just to get it done again by somebody else? And also all the research time you got to use finding someone who is ideally not secretively evil. Like, that's a lot of work I don't want to do.
A lot of work. And that work is really just for the ego. Just
right.
So you can say, oh, I'm good and I never supported anybody bad. As opposed to, I did the best I could with what I had. And, oh, man, I wish
I made the best decision I could at that moment in time. Because there's lots of people out
and
here.
I forgive myself. And
I forgive myself and I move on. Because I could be better. Yeah. So I'll be better tomorrow. You know, I don't understand what this obsession is with America. That's another thing I really love about all the work that I see from you, that it pokes at this idea that everything is okay or everything is fine, right? It makes us admit to ourselves that there's going to be days where we're not okay, where we are not fine. And that's okay too. Like, it's okay to not be okay sometimes, but to know that you'll get better. Like, what inspired you, or what was the feeling which you, like, why do you include that? Is that an intentional inclusion in your work? Hello. Oh, now the internet's really doing the most. Hello.
I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't even recognize that thread in my music. Thank you for saying that. But I definitely feel like, you know what, like, I was just thinking about this, and I'm thinking about it now because Anya and I just bought a van, so we're about to live some of that van life, and it's terrifying. Especially because, like, I can drive, but I don't drive every day. I'm a New Yorker, so like that shit is gonna be scary for a while. And but I remember when I was doing my bicycle tour, I remember telling myself before I think this is the only way I survived it. I remember telling myself I'd never left the East Coast. I'd never done any camping. I'd never done a long distance bike trip. Everything I did on that, I did for the first time. And I remember right before going out, telling myself, like, sitting myself down and going, listen, imagine how hard you think this is going to be. Now realize it's going to be 10 times harder than that you can't even imagine how hard it's going to be. Accept that now. And if you can accept that, you have a chance of making it through. I just remember telling myself that. So there's that. And then there's also, I very much believe this idea that life can only be as good as it is bad. So if you can't deal with life getting really, really bad, you can't deal with it getting really, really good.
Facts.
I try to accept that.
Facts. That part right there, right, is one of my favorite movies is Vanilla Sky.
Somebody else was just talking about that movie. I haven't seen it. I'm a Tom Cruise guy. I fucked with Tom Cruise, but I haven't seen it.
It directly relates to this point.
Wow.
Because he's saying, there's a line in there that says, the sweet is not as sweet without the sour. Like, you can't have the good without the bad, because otherwise everything is monotonous and there is no definition of anything. It's the opposites that define each other, right? And that's why everything happens in balance. So that was interesting that you would say that, and that's something that you include in your work.
Why you just couldn't use that table?
Why are y'all so loud?
Sorry.
Children. No, it's not your fault. Acolytes know better. But yeah, and I think that's an important thing moving forward. You know, I want to talk about. Damn, we're almost at the end. Whoa, it is 8:00 already. Oh my goodness. I don't know what your time is like, but I did want to ask you a little bit about your bike ride, because I think that was really the first time I really took notice, like really took notice. I was a fan from, let me tell you, one of my favorite songs that I listen to at least twice a week is Black God Pantheon. Or it was like, or maybe the name is just Black God, but like Black God. Tell me what I'm a Black God by yes. That is one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's a lot of it was because of your verse on there. How like you just changed up the like your word pattern and just like snuck into all these little pockets in the beat, and then as the beat was amping, you was like retarded, like, and then just came in my soul, and it, like I was like, really? Okay, and then you know. But your bike ride across the United States, like, please, I'm probably gonna get this wrong because it was so long ago, but I thought that was incredibly ballsy. And I want to know, first, can you tell people what it was? And then why the hell did you do it? Like, why? Where did that inspiration even come from? Was it for that?
I rode my bicycle in 2012. So this is like almost a decade ago, but in 2012, I rode my bicycle around the United States for, I think I made it halfway around, and I did it for 8 months. And I would ride my bike around, and I would perform one-man Shakespeare scenes on the street for people. And that's basically it.
Yeah, that Shakespeare face. I love it.
Yeah. And I love doing those scenes. I love riding. I mean, I didn't always love it. I actually hated a lot of the riding, but I want to do it again really badly. And yeah, I guess there was a million reasons I did it, but the big reason was it was my best friend in New York had passed away suddenly, and we kind of always shared the same dream. Like, he was an illustrator, but we just had this like same energy. Like, we were both like trying to not conquer the city, but make our way and become the artists we wanted to be. And we were just on that path together, and it just got cut short for him. So I kind of, that trip was sort of symbolic of me putting him on my back and riding with him, putting his memory on my back, at least for myself. And then also it was just like, I had these dreams of this career that I wanted, and it wasn't coming. And I just felt like maybe the world doesn't take me seriously enough. So if I do something this drastic, that the world will see that I'm committed, that I am, this is all I want, you know? And I think it really did end up having that effect, strangely, over a long period of time.
I think that there was definitely, like, I noticed from the outside a transformation that happened in you. I think that was like when I look back at it, I feel like that was like one of these journeys of the soul that, you know, artists just go on. Like, we just need that time to like really kind of recommit to ourselves or recommit to our dream and recenter and just be like, you know, because it's so easy to get into this place of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life, and this might never happen, and maybe I just wasted the last 10 or 15 years of, you know, I could be on my way to retirement right now if I'd have took that job at the post office or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, yeah, I used to have thoughts about the military. Like, if I'd have just went right into the Air Force out of high school, I would be retired right now. Bitch would be happy, blah, blah, blah. But like, then I'm like, oh, but I probably wouldn't have such a rich life. Like, I wouldn't be as fulfilled and as happy and at peace as I am right now.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, I know I would still be this version of myself, but I think that other paths would have only made me take longer to get there. because I would have been just basically being on a very dutiful path and having to break that mental pattern of following, right? To find your own leadership in you, because it really starts with you being able, not just being able to follow others, but being able to lead yourself and be like, I'm okay not following anybody for a while until I find my way. And then if people find their way to you to follow you, that's when you become a leader by taking that on. But like, I liken that moment in your artistry to you transitioning into that path of leading for yourself. Of like, you needed to take that journey to just be like, you know, to just be assured in yourself that like that you're right. Like, nah, I'm not wrong. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe this is not how to do it specifically, but it's that whole Einstein theory, right? Like, it took 99 tries, 99 ways of finding out what doesn't work to that 100th one did work. What was the high and low of that whole journey for you? Now that you have like 8 years of clarity behind it, right? Like, if you could look back in one time, what would you say is like the greatest thing, the greatest point or lesson, and then the lowest point and lesson from that? What would you say?
Ironically, I think the low, I think the lows are just any of the moments I thought I would quit, which I thought I was gonna quit before I even got on the bike. Like it was hard. It was a hard decision to even decide to do it. And then in the moments in the first few weeks when I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Those were the lows. And then I think the high was like years later finishing the one-man show about it and mounting that and releasing that, because that was, you know, the completion of the dream of me and my collaborator Jolie Tong. Like, that was the fruition of our dream. And like, it is, I have to say, like, I feel like we've been circling around that or talking about this the whole time. Like, it is weird. Like, even in COVID time, like it's one of the things, like, I'm very much, you know, I'm probably what people would call religious. I very much believe in God. And part of that is like, I find it astounding that to a degree, and to any degree would be astounding, to many degrees, I live exactly the life I dreamed of when I was a kid. Like, the life that like being or getting to do or whatever I dreamed. Like if 12-year-old Ralph saw 35-year-old Ralph, he'd be like, holy shit, dude, you did it. You know what I mean? And I am very aware of how blessed I am to have that. I don't take that for granted at all. Like,
how old are you?
I'm 35. I'll be 36 this month.
How does that feel for you as a Black man in America 2020? What's that feel like?
I have one way that I feel about age, and it's always been the same. I really love whatever it is that I do. I really love it, and it makes me so happy to do it. And so I just dream, like, I look constantly like I know how old Howard Stern is. I know how old Larry David is. I know how old Quincy Jones is. I keep track of, I know how old Rick Rubin is. I keep track of these people. So I'm like, okay, I can probably keep doing this for another 30. I may have another 30 years.
Well, I mean, Jay is what? Jay-Z is like, what, 50 now, right?
53. No, 50. He might be 53. Yeah, I think so.
You definitely, I think he's 53 this year.
Yeah. Maybe December.
You definitely got at least 20 years ahead of you.
That's what I'm saying. But I do that math in my head all the time. I'm like, how?
Remember when did you also feel like this when you were like much younger, like, you know, I guess teenagers, adolescents, like 30, that's so old. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know that I had that as much. I did when I was young. I was obsessed with like young geniuses, and it's beautiful that I realized that I'm not one of those. Like, they also burn out early, you know. But like, you know, like Tupac or Marlon Brando or Charlie Chaplin, it's like they all did their best work before they were 35, you know. But then like Jack Nicholson did it the Jack Nicholson we know didn't even start until he was 34.
Right. Same
You
thing
know?
with Morgan Freeman, right? Not Morgan Freeman.
Exactly.
Samuel Jackson too. He was like 30 something and a crackhead at that.
And
like,
a whole
and a crackhead. Like,
Yeah.
what? You went from crackhead to movie star?
Yeah.
Done.
Samuel Jackson is like 65, 70. He's up there, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's still vibrant and he's still, you know what I mean? Like, so.
And that's on my side too. I think Taraji P. Henson is probably the only actress that truly inspires me. Her and Tiffany Haddish, right? Because they both are like mid-30s. They were in their mid-30s. I know Taraji is older than that now, but like they were both mid-30s when they really like actually hit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And while they might have been people you saw floating around here and there, it was still like to be in my mid-30s now and like really, really selling into my stride. Because I feel like quarantine allowed like a decade's worth of progress to happen in like a 5-month span.
Wow.
Right? Because like the amount of time when you really think about, when I really think about it, right? That like for 10 years, I've been, at least 10 years, I've been an artist, right? Learning and refining my craft, my various crafts as I've come into them. I've refined each one by finding mentors or like just fully immersing myself in the same way it would be if I was like studying at school, right? So for 10 years, I'm doing that while working full-time jobs and being a parent and being a person, right? I'm doing all of the things at the same time. That's like 20 hours a day, maybe 18 to 22 hours a day on my feet, always in motion, always in motion, always in motion. Right. So when you don't really settle, even if you had like outside of the greater like personal home situations, like home stability, even with my own apartment, I was rarely at my own house because I'm working or I'm doing this or I'm on the train traveling from here to there to there. People don't realize how much you move as an artist, especially when, you know, pre-COVID, we all had full-time jobs, a lot of us, or 2 and 3 part-time gigs. Plus we did, you know, so there's a lot of movement that goes on there and you don't recognize how many hours are really in a day until you got that whole ass day to yourself. You know what I mean? So you go from having maybe 25 hours a week to do your art to having whatever 24 times 7 is.
Yeah.
156 hours a week, 158 hours a week or something like that.
I couldn't do that math.
What's 24 times 7?
24 times 7 is
168. I was off by 10.
I wouldn't even have gotten close. I would have been in the south.
But yeah, like you suddenly have 160 hours a week to do whatever you want. Right? And only that because you can't go anywhere else. So, you know, I think for a lot of us, what happened is when we're forced to finally settle, it's like the centrifugal force of that, right? Stopping a centrifugal force is like whoosh, everything just kind of comes to the front and like settles. And like you really are like, oh shit, I know I can do that. I can do that. You can organize everything. And I think that's where the growth from a lot of people has come from this year. I have no idea where I was going with this point in the beginning. That's an
interesting idea, though. That makes me really, because it's like this is the moment in American history, right? In recent history, where we need art so much, and like, yeah, it's really growing for people, and
yeah,
in such an interesting way. Yeah.
I think about it in the way that I think about like when my kids were young. Their doctor said something to me that was interesting because I was like, why is my daughter sleeping all the time? It's like she would sleep for like 15 hours a day, right? She always slept a lot. And he was like, well, she's probably just growing. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, that's when your body physically grows when you're asleep. Because you can't be in motion. You can't be using a resource that your body needs to heal. The minute you settle down and you sleep, that's when you physically grow.
Wow.
So my daughter is sleeping for like 10, 15 hours. That's a growth spurt. It's a sign that she's going through a growth spurt physically.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where that idea came from.
That's amazing. Wow. I feel bad now because I really, in some ways, I didn't use this time for that. In some ways, I took this time and made myself busier than I've ever been.
Right, but you had to make yourself busy. Just think about that idea, the fact that you had to make yourself busy. I did the same thing. I was like, right after, once I was over my initial, shock of the trauma, right? Once the trauma has settled, I'm like, all right, how do I function in this? I started making myself a schedule, but you have to make yourself a schedule. You have to do the things for yourself you never did before. So that's you pushing yourself past your boundary of like somebody else gave me the schedule, told me when to be at work. Now I have to decide when to be at work and I have to stick to that. Right. And like self-discipline is actually a form I'm finding. I've been learning, stay on your side of that canvas, man. He's veering over the lines. That's why. But discipline is a form of self-care. It's an immense form of self-love, right? Because you can be inspired to do something in yourself, but it's the discipline that keeps you manifesting that thing or keeps you being that thing. You have to be disciplined to say, yo, Joy, I know you love the wine, but you got to not drink the wine right now. You need to sleep early or you need to sleep late, or like I can manage my life because I've established the rules by which to manage my life. And that's only because I love myself, right? And that's all discipline is. It's like you reinforcing your commitment to whatever it is you said you loved about yourself or that you wanted to do in life. Because it's dedication that keeps you here. Motivation gets you here, but it's discipline and dedication that keeps you here.
Ooh, right? You're giving me bars right now because that's really what I needed to hear.
Right, and the bars are effortless. Have you noticed this about your life now these days, that your bars are kind of effortless?
I'm kind of the other way. The bars are kind of effortful right now because, and it's for one very simple reason, which is like that Big Sean album came out. And that boy was rapping so hard on there that really made me go like, I feel like I've been neglecting my pen a little bit. I wasn't pushing hard enough. I was sort of living in that effortless place and not like going like, oh, you could say that a little bit better. You could say it a little bit stronger. So I guess I don't. But it did come fast though. I wrote the mixtape in a month.
Wow.
And it's big. It's a long piece of work.
I'm writing my first album now, writing and recording my first album now, like full-length album. And shout out to Big Ox from Idea Factory, Creative Process, EO Dub. I've been working with him closely on some tracks, and like he keeps pushing me to this place where I'm like able to make sense of my brain function. So like he'll let me like record and he'll just let me go. Like, when you first take a dog out and just let them run around, like right, just run around, get all that energy out. And then he like is able to help me like hone in. And the process of writing an album is so different because my writing process is from freestyle. It's like that's my process, is to freestyle and then go back and edit. And so he helps me make sense of that a lot more.
That's so dope.
Yeah. It's just because you shared a secret with me, I'm gonna share a secret. It's not so secret, but I did name my album. My roommate actually named it, and it's called The Come Down Clarity.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
I want that to sink in because it's many levels.
There's some innuendo in there.
Huh?
There's some innuendo in there, and there's a lot going on in there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's 2020. There's a lot going on out here, you know? Plus I noticed it's like we're all geniuses on the way down. I think it might be like hubris or stupidity or just curiosity that gets us lifted up, but like on the way down, we're quite wise. Whether that's a reference to like drug use or like metaphorical pride falling or whatever the case may be, it's not until you're on your way down that you're like, oh,
yes,
and there's so much fucking clarity that comes, with being able to look behind. And what this is. It's like a combination of things I've written written years ago, but also reflections on lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm this interview is not about me, it's about Precious Gorgeous.
Well, I love all this because like you know, it's very interesting that like it's so funny because I don't know how into this you are, but like I know that Scorpios and Geminis aren't they don't necessarily get along that well. Scorpions and Geminis don't necessarily get along that well. A lot of the
Sometimes we do though, but
sometimes you do. My girlfriend is a Gemini. One of my best,
Ooh,
my oldest friends in my life is a Gemini that I started making music with. Like, you know, like it absolutely does happen. And really what that shows to me is like, I've always like, I was the kid in school when the teacher was like, everybody stop talking or you get more homework. I'd be like, yeah, everybody stop talking. Why we will get
you were that
trouble.
guy, like, shut up.
Yeah, I was that kid. Like, I wasn't like a snitch or it's not that I didn't enjoy having fun or I was like a really good kid. It just, I could just immediately see the logic. Like, if we do this, we get to do that later. It was very clear to me. I'm sure it was clear to other people, but they may have been like, you know, and then, but
they just didn't want to do the same things you wanted to do.
Sure. Or they were just like, nah, I want to have my fun right now, whatever it is. But the thing is that I always was the person who like, I'm going to listen to the person who fucked up and like, or I'm going to listen to the person who already went there and hear how they fucked up and then not do what they did, right? That's always been my path. But the thing I've had to learn to appreciate is, yeah, but somebody has to go out there and fuck up to learn all the lessons. You know what I mean? Somebody has to go get the wisdom. You know, I'm just taking it after they've already harvested it. But somebody has to go and get it. That's why, like, one of my favorite people in the world is Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? He went out and got all the wisdom, took all the bumps and bruises, and now he's just a body of wisdom. But that was hard.
Word.
And when I was younger, I didn't appreciate that person as much as I do now. That I'm completely, anything that I know, any good idea that I have I got from them.
Just because what you're saying, right? There's also like the flip side of that, where the people that we sometimes do look to for, we do think of as a wealth of wisdom or like a fount of all these things. There is an extreme cover up of their past,
Cosby.
or like a lightening of it, right? Or like an erasure of it somehow. Like it doesn't, like it's not attached to all this wisdom they got, right? So like the fact that Maya Angelou was a prostitute is not something anybody talks about for a long ass time, right? Like,
right.
But she is mother. Like she is mother. I'm not gonna lie, say this girl don't have the truth, but like we ain't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't talk about those parts. We don't talk about the hard parts of people who have earned their respectability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you earn a certain level of respectability, it's as if all the grime and grit that contributed to your, like that, were the building blocks of your wisdom, like they don't matter anymore.
Yeah, I'm not with that anymore. Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was more, you know, just behave. Like, why are you? And now there's something I heard Robert Downey Jr. say on his. I wish I could find it because it's probably my favorite episode of the whole series. My favorite TV show of all time is Inside the Actor's Studio, and
oh yes, that and In Conversation.
Oh, I don't think I ever watched that.
There's a really great episode I recently watched or listened, because I listen to everything. There's an episode between Maya Angelou and Dave Chappelle.
Oh yes, of course, I've seen that. Yeah, I have it on my computer.
Yeah, that's In Conversation. That's what that show is. In Conversation.
I love that episode. The Robert Downey Jr. thing. They were asking him. James Lipton, rest in peace, was asking him like, you know, talk about, you know, go to jail for all the drugs you were doing, all this, like talk about that. And he's like, yeah, you know, people say that, you know, I had to go to jail to learn my lesson, and I you know, I had addiction issues and blah blah this and that. He's like, yeah, all that's cool, and I get that, you know, and I'm clean now, but it's like you can look at it as an addiction or an issue, but I was expressing something. Something was being expressed through that behavior. And I just remember that just hit me so, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you know, I'm a goody goody. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm a goody goody, and I sort of could always.
You know, I didn't know that.
I don't. Maybe most people don't. I feel like everybody knows, but like, I think there was a part of me that was always like, you know, I don't want to make the mistakes. I don't want to blah blah. But like, what I don't understand is like when somebody's making their mistakes, quote unquote, they are expressing something and they're doing a lot of learning. A lot of learning, and I
So
think
much learning.
learn
So
to
much learning. There's something I wrote in my new book, Hodgepodge. Check it out. It'll be on Amazon soon. I know
yes.
we're all late, but it's
Please
20.
send me the link to that because I will repost that immediately.
There's something I wrote about how I've always lived my life. Something like I've always lived my life in a mess. Like I've always been a mess because that's what makes a masterpiece. Or something like I have to sprawl all my tools in front of me to see what I am working with. Something like that. Was something is a piece that I wrote, and like it's so true. Like I look at life where like also I look at the world, right? And I realize that sometimes we condemn, like society allows us to condemn the process, but not the results of the process. Like society makes us forget the process, that the process is important. Saying shit like, you don't try, you just do. It's like, no, actually trying is doing. They're synonymous. Like they are the same. The trying is where you learn your lessons. The trying, like if you don't try, or if you try and you fail and you try again, you are not a quitter. But if you try and you fail and then you say, oh, it's too hard, then you are a quitter. And you say, oh, I can't do that, because you created that barrier in your mind to the things that you can't do because you decided it was too hard to try. Trying is the hardest thing to do.
Absolutely.
Because you have to convince yourself that it's all right to fuck up. And accept that you fucked up, and that there is another way, and that you're going to be committed to figuring out this other way. But until you like allow yourself to fuck up, you're never, you just like, yeah, life will look gravy for you from the outside, but I bet your soul is on fire. Your soul's on fucking fire. Because that shit is torment internally. To not deal with your shit, to not unpack your shit is like, I feel like, or at least I think that, right? I think that you know, not being willing to address and unpack the things that you unconsciously operate from is what is eternal damnation. That is the hell, right? And this is me speaking as a like, I got ordained early in the quarantine. It was an accident at first, but now I've grown into it and realized that it was for a purpose. It wasn't an accident. Like, it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
It might have happened like an accident. And it is a fun.
Yeah, I'm listening. Oh no, what happened? You froze? Joy? Oh, Joy was ordained. Now she's gone. I don't know if I'm frozen or Joy's frozen. I'm a true clapback queen. Where is it going? What's going on? Okay. Well, Joy's gone. It's just me here. I don't know what she wants me to do. I'm gonna wait a minute, and then if not, I'm gonna go. I don't know where we're at. Okay, here comes Joy.
I'm back.
Excellent. Okay, cool.
So yeah, it started as an accident, but because I was really just looking into it, and it was like a site, and I'm like, okay, it said input your info for more information on how to get ordained, and I'm like, cool. I put my info in, boop boop boop, and then I click send, and it goes, congratulations, you're an ordained minister. I was like, the fuck, like, it's really that easy. It really is that easy. Wow. However, what I'm recognizing is, in settling in that my life has been coming back to it and like just starting to make sense to show me how like it's a part of what was going to happen anyway. Like I was going to be connected to some type of faith anyway, because that's a part of my life's purpose. A part of my art's purpose is to help foster faith in people, in themselves, especially in Black people, in ourselves, in our resilience, in our fortitude, in our ability, in our creativity, in our intelligence, in the intelligence of our design. The fact that we are biochemically unlike any other quote unquote race of people on the earth, and this is scientifically proven. I don't remember where I read that, so don't quote me on it. But, you know, we contain a lot of the things. Like, I recently did a DNA test over the summer, and I found out that I have a percentage of Neanderthal DNA, which only comes from people that are descended from that area of you know, the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, pre-Pangea existence.
Right.
Because that's when Neanderthals existed. It's pre-Pangea.
Anya was just talking to me about that. She said she knew a Neanderthal. Yeah. Wow.
And it's interesting. You'll find this to be more common in people of color. And I think it has to do with the melanin. I'm not a scientist yet, so don't quote me on any of this stuff, guys.
I love the yet. I love that. I have to say, I'm like constantly just amazed and like, just like, I don't want to say surprised, but more like just constantly like basking in like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love artists so much. And I would say like, and I would always say, if somebody was to ask me, point to, and our relationship isn't always that great. This person I'm talking about, our relationship isn't always that great. But if somebody was like, "Hey, point to an artist right now," the first person I'd point to is probably O'Henny.
Yes.
Not anything else. He's an artist, and I would say you're also on that list. Like, if I had to point to an artist,
thank you.
That's an artist. Joy is an artist for sure. Like, and I'm always the way you see the world and process the world and deliver the world back to itself. It's like, for some of us, it's a vocation. It's something that we aspire to and toward and live our life to that. But there's some people who just that they are that. They are that.
Yeah, I've been feeling that too a lot lately. In this post-pandemic world, that's really the identity that I've been starting to settle into in a way that, like, it's part of what inspired this whole situation. It was like I had to let go of this idea of me trying to be anything else, because everything else was a fallacy. Everything else was not actually, like, when I think about it, when I listen to the words that I speak, I listen to myself, listen back to myself in a performance, or just listen to some randomness. I realize, like, I speak in a poetic nature. I have a grace of a dancer, even though I'm not a dancer. I would never say I'm a dancer. I don't dance, but like I do have a grace about me. There are things about me that have let me recognize, like, I'm just art. Like, that's just what I am. That's all I can do. That's what I is. Right. And it's a very hard place to live in, because it's like Harry Potter in the Muggle world. You know what I mean? It's like, how does God talk to a mortal? Through dreams, through inspirations, through artwork, through feeling, because words do not encompass, like, they do not always allow me to accurately express what I feel or what I think. And it's not something I'm trying to do. I've been trying to not do it for years, but like, it's just like the pandemic said, no, this is who you are. Like, this is what I feel. It's like, it was a big ass timeout. Like, stop trying to stop. Just stop. You know, that whole Chris Tucker thing.
You reminded me of this quote that I want to proliferate and share as much as I can. is a great. Mark Maron did a couple of great. Sometimes I get tired of his woke ass, but his podcast is great. And he had a couple of great episodes over quarantine. His Ice-T episode was really lovely. He had a Jerry Seinfeld episode that was really lovely, but he had an episode with Wendell Pierce of The Wire and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a beautiful dude, and but there's a so he on the interview he said a quote that will probably go to the grave with me. I can't believe I never thought of this, and when I heard it, I was just like, oh. He said, art is to the community what thoughts are to the individual.
Ooh. Yeah, I had to let that sit for a second, man. That shit just hit my soul. Like,
I don't know where
art
he
is
got
for the
that from.
community, what thoughts are for the individual. That is a natural stopping point. Like I can't even fathom. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you for having this conversation with me. This has been such an honor to talk to you. You're welcome to come back anytime, because a part of what this whole piece of my project is this is the media side of the Juneteenth project that I started in June, where like I have the goal to build the largest living historical archive of Black life and culture. And it starts with Black life because that is the most misrepresented and under-recorded existence in the history of the world. Amen. We can fight about it. I'm right here. Y'all know where to find me. Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. But, it's also the fact that, like, even in America, right, when I was thinking about Juneteenth and the fact that, like, the degradation and dehumanization of Black people in America is the sole reason why any other group that has ever come to America has been acceptably ostracized and oppressed.
Wow.
It all relates to the dehumanization of Black people in America. The fact that there were legal constitutional documents that set us free and gave us certain guarantees that the government neglected to fulfill, right? And then on top of it, Juneteenth is only a thing because it took 2 extra years to get to the farthest reaches of our territories and let them know that they're free too. So that's another thousands and thousands of people that we don't know their existence or what could have come from their existence. Right? And we have no records for these things. And then I was watching Watchmen. I'm I'm a little comic booky. And I'm not a big nerd, but like I am a nerd, but not a comic book nerd. But I do have mad love for the comics because the comics and sci-fi really, really dig at the more universal truths of humanism. Right. And when we think about Watchmen, how you could go to this ancestry and you could hear about your relatives from your relatives, I was like, that would be dope if that existed. The African American Museum right now, it has things about our past that happened, but it's not in the business right now of like actively cataloging people as they are making the history that will someday be history. Right? If you could talk to every person involved in the Harlem Renaissance, like imagine what the world would be like if we could just access, the stories of people that existed during the Harlem Renaissance. It's the same thing I think about when I talk to my parents. Like I talk to them, they've been musicians forever. And when I talk to them about just making music in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And, my parents made a song that was banned on the radio.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy to think about songs that were once banned on the radio that now don't even make people blush anymore. you know, but there's no record of any of that. So these conversations, this clapback culture, as I call it, this is all supportive of that effort. And in me recording it, I can, you know, share it with the masses that may or may not watch. We have it for posterity. You come back again, we add it to your archive, like your branch of the archive, because we have to. I really think that there's power in stories. That's another thing I love about you as an artist, is that you tell stories, right? I met you through your vein of hip hop, being down with Black God Pantheon, or like a creator in Black God Pantheon, and like one of the strongest pillars. But I didn't know until I saw you live that you were also like a Shakespearean stage actor, right? And so I think what I saw you do was rap Shakespeare, and that shit was bomb, because it combined, to me, two of my greatest loves, literary history. Literary history is
how we say it from now on.
Literary history. Yeah. Literary. You know what I'm talking about? Books, right? Books, old books, old stories, and then also hip hop. And it was one of those things that, you know, as Jay-Z says, dumbs down for your audience. Like, not everybody can process Shakespeare, but anybody could process Shakespeare to a beat. And like, you did that shit. Like, you did that shit. You were doing it. So, you know, and it's in the power of telling stories that we find our links as human beings beyond the borders of race and class, status, you know, even accomplishment and financial equity. Like, we find our connective thread through stories, through the sharing of stories. And so I think it's really important to have like established the archive as the history is being made, so that, you know, in the future, when we have Jay-Z investing in this thing, you know, what's good, Ivy Park? What's good, Paperboy Prince?
Yeah,
I'm not playing in these streets, because it's, you know, I want to ask you a question, because I know you're as pro-Black and as realist as I am.
Yeah.
I have a theory about the whole writing of the broken societal contract, right? I think that
writing of the broken societal contract.
The writing of the broken social contract, right?
Okay.
I think that Black people have no business out in the streets protesting, rioting, none of that shit. I feel like all we got to do is keep building with keep creating our own infrastructure. And white people need to be out in the streets protesting and rioting and all that shit, and burning their own shit down and fighting the other half of the people that, you know, are like, go back to where you came from, shithole countries, all those things. Agree or disagree, and why or why not?
This is the best way I'll put it. I think over quarantine, one of the things I discovered is my favorite animal is probably still a wolf, but my second favorite animal is definitely the sloth. I identify a lot with the sloth, and it's the sloth is an almost useless animal. You know, it just moves really slow, and it's just really cute, but it doesn't really do anything. But the thing is, like, I know that there are other people who they naturally identify with the dolphin. Some people naturally identify with the panther. Some people naturally identify with the rhino. Some people naturally identify with the eel. And thank God, because I can't. Whatever those animals accomplish, I can't do it. So I am very thankful for whoever. Like, there's the things that I want to do that I'm like, I got this. And somebody's like, thank God, I don't want to do that. But I'm like, well, this is what I love to do. I'm going to do this. So I got my part. And I thank God that the other people, whoever they are, whatever race they are, who are like, no, I'm trying to go out in the streets and trade Molotovs with the police. Or I'm trying to call my senators every 12 minutes. I am about that life. I thank God for anybody who's out there doing the thing that I can't get done. I don't care. I don't care who it is. And even on your part, Joy, for you having the conviction of like, I don't think we should be doing it. We should be doing this over here. Thank God for you and that you have that conviction and that you can carry that through. You can articulate it, manifest it, fight for it, convince people of that. Like, thank God for you for having that, for even thinking of that.
Because I just also think like, what would happen if there were no Black or brown people on the street fighting for the equity that we've been deserved, been earned? You know what I'm saying? What if it was only other people with proximity to whiteness that were out there? Would the conversation change? Right? Would the conversation change? Because when there are literal riots over a football coach being fired or a baseball team losing a game and shit gets fucked up and destroyed, it's always like enthusiastic fans, right?
Yeah.
But let it be about some real shit, like, I don't know, not murdering innocent people. And it's like these thugs. So like if all of these thugs looked like the same people that are trying to maintain law and order, does the conversation then change to the actual issue of the inequity of people that aren't white?
I mean,
like that's my idea behind asking that question.
I couldn't say for sure, and I feel like you could be right about it, and really, I feel like the answer is probably not even in the fact that you have an answer, but you're striving toward wherever that leads you to.
Yeah, I got no answers, man.
I truly believe that, like, your whatever your movement is toward that is going to be the thing that flowers. Whether you make that manifest or in the movement toward it, you discover another idea on top of that or a side of it or whatever it is. But I do feel like moving toward these ideas and the movement toward them that is the thing, because it's also going to change as it's like, let's say you can accomplish this, right? Let's say you can accomplish this and make this so that, like, in Black America, we should know that it is not a job to protest. As you're moving toward it, let's say it takes you a year to move toward it. You will also change during that year of moving toward it. So your thinking will be revolutionized,
right?
Where there's a possibility, one, you may not even agree with it when you get there, or there's a possibility you may think you're not being radical enough when you get there.
I just you make me remember that I just rewatched the Magicians, the sci-fi show The Magicians.
Okay.
And so I'm on the season where they go on this quest to restore magic. So now they're on a quest. They have to find 7 keys and all these things. And Quentin says something in the middle that relates exactly to this, is that the quest is not made for the quester. Like, the person that starts the quest is never the same person that ends the quest, because it changes you. The process is supposed to change you. Like, I feel like life is a process. It's supposed to change you. And you are definitely someone who always shares your change with us, and then also inspires us to change ourselves. So I thank you so much
thank you.
For the conversation. YouTube is not acting up anymore. And I really got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
So I was trying to send you like secret messages on this private chat feature, but
I'm so sorry.
You're clearly not seeing them, and it's all good. I'm not mad at all. So we're gonna end right now, or at least take a break, because I gotta really go.
Okay. We can end here. We can end on this. I think this is beautiful. I'm gonna contact you to get you on this mixtape, because I want you.
Yes, please do. And wait, last question: are you still doing Brave New World out front the Brooklyn Museum, or
we're gonna try to be there this Thursday? It looks like it's gonna get rained out. We're gonna try to make it through the end of the month. So if we're not there this Thursday, hopefully we'll be there next Thursday.
All right, sounds great. Okay. Thank you so much, Precious Gorgeous. We're gonna get into some of his music right now.
Here we go. Number 10 on 60 to 100. Starting from 100, I'm down to 10. Quarantine bar, shout out to Mandela Eskia. Scared to take a breath, sequestered in a tent. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. The apocalypse is nigh. The ending is tent. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. Scared to take a breath, sequestered in a tent. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. The apocalypse is nigh. The ending in its tense. Let me represent, Lord. Let me represent. I need a washing. Proceed with caution. Saddled with hardship. Fires engulfing. Water's not working. Commerce all halted. It halted this mortgage. I want my mama. Don't you foreclose this? I need forewarning. I ain't foreseen this. Here come 4 horsemen. Bothered by virus. Ducking this virus. Shut up, I'm shyer. They won't divide us. Lord, give me strength not to see problems as problems. Only as a challenge that's about to get bodied. Lord, make me all feisty, just like Macaulay. Alone in New York, don't let me go bonkers. Let me reach my arms out to niggas and call out to niggas and call out to niggas who aren't about my niggas. Going all out, my nigga, to fall out is difficult. You fall down and get up a compound the issue. I'm lost by the million, but all now forgiven. I brush off the venom and walk toward adventure and bow. I accept things I can't change. I just remember my lane. I accelerate the pace, turn their head up for rotation. You'll never doubt a game. I will elevate your faith. Hate the player in the game. You will never get the play. Come do better than complain. Be the change that wasn't made. Be the love you never got. Improve on the empathy. It's quarantine not hitting. I fantasize I'm at the Catalina wine mixer, dying for dialogue about this global dilemma, but it's only monologues of diatribes on Twitter. Overwhelmed the ER and overwhelmed the call center. Rest of us left offended in the harsh desert, unforgiving terrain of our toxic hard feelings. Bunch of entitled sore losers who be worse off winning. Sometimes I doubt that you can hear us, God. Could you do the math? Could you even odds? At odds with each other, please keep us calm. It's the first leg of the race and we bear in arms. Families torn apart, size chodes and we section off. Where is your beautiful house? Same as it ever was. Don't ever talk to me or my son again. I don't like the cut of your jib or where it's been. We disagree on things. I take that for a threat. You take me for a villain and I really just want the best. You want me to be who you want me to be. Because we don't agree, you hope harm comes to me. You pray on my downfall, you want me extinct. Wish death on me, at least COVID-19. But this all just a dream about the darkness we keep. When we wake, shall we ponder what all of this means? Scared to take a breath, sequestered in a tent. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. The apocalypse is nigh, the ending it is hence. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. Scared to take a breath, sequestered in a tent. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. The apocalypse is nigh, the ending it is hence. Let me represent, Lord, let me represent. Versus Gorgeous 6 and 100 real quick. This is number 10. Try to do these kind of epic ones for the last few. Quarantine bars again in the tradition of what Mandela Eskia started. BGP, Black God Pantheon, I'm Precious Gorgeous, I love you. I hope to see you soon. Healthy. Hopping, I'ma take you for a spin. Blow your mind off your spine when you see how raw it is. Then you say, Uncle Plush, can I get some more of this? Watch yourself, what's the song? Then it's on, it's over with. Hopping, I'ma take you for a spin. Blow your mind off your spine when you see how raw it is. Then you sing, Uncle Plush, can I get some more of this? Watch yourself, what's the song? Then it's on, it's over with. Go ahead, step on up, fill your cup, come get enough. I don't mind, my mind is a mind that barely touch. Aim and tap for the gems and minerals that renew. Black boy, everything that is begins with you. They gon' tell you that you're lack, you're limited to be scared. They gon' tell you that you're black, a stain, smudge, or a smear. They tell you that because they aren't prepared. Only reason to promote that narrative is fair, dog. I won't lie, bruh. This virus has been working for 'em. We've been hit, we've been licked and put hurting on us. I could strut, I could front that they don't hurt at all. But God made us most sexy when vulnerable. There's telltale signs that things ain't fine. Dying to make it rain, man, our wells went dry. Heard our parents yell, but they ain't said bye. So take little attitude to keep our heads held high. If there's tang in your speech or fang in your teeth, just our way to convey that there ain't nothing sweet. Only game we know how to play is for keeps, cause that race always seem to change pace when we leave. Don't have answers, try to come up with answers, only fishing of anger, though we're back in the barrel. Wish I could say something to remind us we family. A table big enough for all the youngers that's banging. Every vision for daughters that's missing their daddies. A decision on the women who never had one. Is my thinking so wishful? I hear you all laughing. I take what I can get, and for 1 second we happy. 1 second ain't painful. 1 second is peaceful. 1 sec we ourselves again. 1 sec with our ego. I ain't teaching no lessons. I ain't figured out either. Just ready for job, ready to start healing. Happen. I'ma take you for a spin. Blow your mind off your spine when you see how raw it is. Then you'll sing, Uncle Fresh, can I get some more of this? Watch yourself. Once it's on, then it's on. It's over with. Happen. I'ma take you for a spin. Blow your mind off your spine when you see how raw it is. Then you'll sing, Uncle Fresh, can I get some more of this? Watch yourself. Once it's on, then it's on. It's over with. Precious Gorgeous 6100 real quick. Bonus. I got 2 more of these to go. I did 90 of them. Now I'm down to 10. I got 10 more to go. 60 and 100. Real quick, PreciousGorgeousBrown.com. Precious Gorgeous 600 real quick. They tryna box him, they can't outbox him. This the unboxing, this what the fox said. You got my number, come on get dialed in. Once it all clicks, I'll be leading this conference. They tryna box him, they can't outbox him. This the unboxing, this what the fox said. You got my number, come on get dialed in. Once it all clicks, I'll be leading this conference. How did Bob get caught up in the weave? Answer will flip your wig. Ain't nothing but Afro Sheen. I'm the new Charlie Sheen. Been accused by Billie Jean. I'm the creature in the sandlot. Y'all in Little League. I don't smoke no weed. I won't drink a drop. I'm already loose up top. That's thanks to my pop. The ground already fertile. I just got the crops. It's the harvest, old man. Come check out my life. Never had no finger waves. Never learned to finger roll. Ain't know how to get no girls. I was never typical. Always just in my zone. Ever since a shorty, I was just a lemon-o. I just never fit the format. Of course, as we went forward, all my peers went corporate. Of course, I had to veer off and go off exploring. Had to tour the detour, wander through my wonder. Yeah, you forking right. I forked the fork. I'm in the forklift. Yeah, that's how you get a man named Ralph, man named Precious Gorgeous. Turn the damn thing out. Damn fool doing the pee-wee up in the playhouse. Makes the chaos cohere and he never says how. Not saying that it's magic, but it's magic. I'm Thousand Island, a Mad Hatter, a live wire, a jackrabbit. I'm a thing, I'm a torch, I'm a storm, I'm fantastic. I didn't come to be a bother or a thorn. Came to prick you, treat and trick you. Yeah, that's probably annoying. But if I ain't there to tickle, where's the jollies or the joy? I'm just an imp, I can't be bitch of the jesters. I'm LeBron. Now it's peace, I've said my piece. Reese's Pieces, all you weenies. From T-Neck to Tahiti, I'm Lieutenant of Lucchini. Enjoy confit and Kofifi, I'm signing off in graffiti. Kiss the mom with chicken grease. Yeah. They tryna box him, they can't outbox him. This the unboxing, this what the fox said. You got my number, come on get dialed in. Once it all clicks, I'll be leading this conference. 6100 real quick, I'm Precious Gorgeous, PreciousGorgeousRalph.com. Check out all my music, all the content I'm doing. And yeah, there's more coming. Peace.